Hello art stars. So today we've got a pretty intricate lesson planned out. So make sure you're relaxed. You can put some nice music on if you like and get out our papers. So in your kit you should have like different colored and textured papers. I just digged around to what I had in my house and I've got this cool like green on one side, purple on the other one. Some standard brown packing, some white paper, and then my thicker card for the base, which you will have a page of your notebook. So the idea is that we cut out shapes in the paper and layer them and slowly create a story. And there is an extra level of difficulty if you think you've got your hands, hands down, you've got paper cutting and it's super easy for you. You can make it slightly 3D. And so the way we would do this is by all the layers where you're gluing down or taping down your different layers of paper, then gets folded so that the paper stands like that, and then all the layers will stand up. I'm not sure that the papers I have are thick enough to do that, so we're gonna go ahead and just layer them as normal. And just, looking at these papers, the colors that I have, what comes to me is maybe a little cabin in the woods. So that's going to be my story. You're welcome to try and do along my story or make up your own. Always you can make up your own. So I'm going to start with the green and start with, excuse me, whatever is at the very back. Allergies are a bit full on today, so my throat's a little bit funny. So what would be at the very back would be the trees, right? So you always want to work from the ground up, maybe a little bit higher up because we're going to be folding our corner to hide all the tape. So you want to leave like this much on your notebook or your card. And then I'm going to start drawing some trees. And decide maybe my ground is kind of here. And what you really is almost like if you had just the shadow of the item. We're not going in and filling out in the middle. Let me bring it closer and show you in a minute. Where's the top of my paper? It's somewhere here. So if you can see, I'm just cutting this, drawing the shape of the trees, and I'm gonna come in and cut these outside parts that don't form my trees. Let me try and draw this super quick and you'll get a better idea of how we're doing this. And I maybe want to do it in 2 sections. So this is going to get cut out. And you can even draw X's if it makes it easier on the pieces that need to be cut out, so we don't get confused. So as you can see, I've got some trees. I've got X'd out my bits in the middle that need to be cut out. Ooh, paper's down. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut these out. Now, because my papers were living in a roll, they're a bit funny and they want to kind of curl up a little bit. But you shouldn't have that issue because your paper is going to be straight. I've tried rolling it a bit the other way to counteract this, but they've been rolled for so long that the memory that the paper's holding is quite strong. So we cut the outside first. And take your time. The more intricate your shape and the smaller your shape, the harder this will be. So keep that in mind. And if you really wanted to try out the 3D version of this, and like me, your papers aren't quite thick enough to use on their own, you can always glue this paper down to thicker card, and then that will help it stand up. And so now I've got my 3 bits in the middle here. And the easiest way is sometimes to pinch a little bit without creating too much of a fold on my paper. And then do a tiny snip, minding always your fingers. So holding like that and doing a little hole so your scissors can get in. And that's why I like doing it in the middle, so that if there is a crease from where I folded, you're going to cut through all of that anyway. And if you need help from an adult to get going on this bit, you always can. Asking for help, we all need it. It's important. And I'm going slow in this bit because my paper's thin. I don't want it to tear and destroy all the work we've done. Now I might have to glue this down to some normal white paper just to get the rolling from stopping. Because otherwise it's just going to sit on my paper all rolled up like this. Who knows, maybe that creates a good texture. We'll find out. We can experiment a bit. And there you go, my first cutout done. We go ahead and do the second one. Pinch and then cut a bit. And always minding our fingers. Oh, I think I didn't cut that enough. There we go, that sounded better. So you see there's a little hole there. And this one's a bit narrower, this spot, so it's a little bit tricky. Once you start carving out some space, it's a lot easier to move your scissors around. Okay, and my third middle bit. Okay, beautiful. So now that this is here, I might just try and quickly unroll this way I'm gonna make it a little sausage roll here. Just to see if I can counteract this action some more. Okay, there we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? Bent my paper there a little bit, but that's okay. Grab a bit of sellotape about the width or a bit longer than your piece. And you're gonna glue it down half on your piece, your green piece of paper for me, and half on your bottom card. Lovely. And I'm going to cut out one more tree for this side, I think. I'm going to take advantage of the paper on this side. Oops, that was way too big. That's coming out of my paper. Let's readjust. And sometimes when we're rubbing out colored paper, you've got to be a bit gentle because it can rub out some of the color. So, this is where my paper is. So you can always shift it to the side so you can see where your paper finishes and make sure your drawing doesn't come off beyond that. So this one will be easy because there's no middle parts to cut out. And if you find you're struggling a bit, that's always an alternative. Cutting all the pieces individually so that you don't have to get in there in the middle with your scissors. Lovely. And I'm going to do the same with this one, just roll it the other way around. Probably should have done that before drawing and cutting it out. Would have been easier. So that's okay. Okay. And so I'm going to make this one come on top of this one here. And again, we grab a big piece of sellotape. And there we go, we've got our trees flying. And so this flopping is what I meant by if it's 3D, it might not hold up, but we'll see at the end, maybe it does. And so that's where an extra card would come in. So now I'm going to take my brown paper and I'm going to draw my little cabin. And we're going to make it a super simple cabin. You want to keep your artwork around so you can kind of see the scale of what you're drawing. So I'm going to take advantage of this edge that's already cut here. And I think maybe we see a window of the cabin. So I'm going to cut out this. And the reason I want to draw a window is because I think I want to see somebody in there. Maybe we make a little purple cat. I like that idea. So, I'm going to redraw this on the other side because I've made a mistake. You want to always start from your same base height. So this actually needs to be almost as tall as my width of paper here. Because we want to be gluing it all down here. And again, we do our window. Like so. And just before I cut out the middle, I might go ahead and grab a bit of glue and glue this one down to a bit of white paper, just to get a bit of strength on it. Rescue here my paper that fell down. And we're just going to get some glue on here. Because the more I'm cutting out, the more I really want to show you what the 3D fold looks like. And I think the little cabin will be really cute for that. There we go. Give that a nice press down. And so that's got a bit more structure to it now. Let's get this over here. And now these are quite small holes on my window. And when they're that small, you can always help yourself with a pencil or an old pen and kind of puncture through it. Trying to be a bit more gentle than I was because I almost took out the rest of my window there. There we go. Beautiful. So I've punctured all my holes and now I'm going to try and get my scissors in there. I might just cut this from the back here. Not too much damage done. I can still get away with this. Rescuing all my bits that fall, so there's less cleanup to do later. That helps when you're cutting lots of little pieces. Just make sure you're cutting over your table, and that way you don't have to pick up millions of little pieces from the floor. Now there's a lot of professional paper cutters, and they actually use little scalpel knives, and the drawings can get so intricate and so small. It's an amazing thing to see. It takes them hours of cutting little shapes and pasting them together. Okay, our beautiful cabin with the window. So that guy's gonna come right here. And what I'm gonna do, because this cabin is technically in front of the trees, I'm gonna glue it a little bit lower, just a tiny bit. Grab my sellotape. Oh, actually, we want to put the cat in here before I sellotape this down. So, you can grab this paper and I'm just going to measure from behind my cabin. My window is like here, so that's my limit to where I want the cat to be. So let me get this centered here so you can see me draw it. So I'm just gonna make a really basic outline of a cat. We see its tail there. And then what we do is do a really long stick for it, like so. And this time I'm going to glue it down before I cut it. And depending on what you can see, you want this stick to be as thick as possible so that it holds your artwork up. Beautiful. So I might even cut this a bit further from the line, depending. You can lay your window here and see how it's looking. And so for me, yes, I can see that I won't see the bottom of the legs. So I'm going to cut this a bit thicker. There we go. We've got our little cutout cat. So now we layer these. This is a bit tricky because you want to make sure you get both in the right place. So first my cat goes there. We grab a bit of sellotape. Lovely. And now our cabin. And again, we get a nice long piece for this. There we go. And so now all that we have left to do is, you could add more if you want. You could add flowers here at the front, you know, layer as much. You could do little logs in front of the cabin. You know, I could do so much more with this, but I'm gonna leave it there for time. I just want to show you how to fold this. You want to bring this almost back, so it might be easier if I'm folding one layer at a time. And so this is why we do it at different points. So where the sellotape ends, that's where you fold. And finally, your paper, you want to fold a little bit further up, your background. You could go ahead and paint this background if you felt like it. There's multiple things you can do to decorate this further. Let me just kind of mark out this line just by pushing it up a bit, and then we'll fold it fully. Lovely. Okay, and so now what I might do is roll up a couple of sellotape bits just so that my trees stay up. But the beautiful thing about this is, if I get it up to you, is that you start seeing the shadows and the layers, almost like a scene, a set in a play, right? You see all the shadows, and you can take torches and things and light it differently and play around. You can have a little mobile piece that comes into your set here. I could take a green piece and glue it down here to hide all of my tape. So all of those options that you can do to your layered paper cut. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. See you on our Zoom session, Art Stars. Bye.